football clubs.
Manchester United play at Old Trafford, the biggest stadium for the biggest club. But are they actually the biggest football club in England?
Subscribe now to see how they compare with other big football clubs.
Manchester United are a close second in terms of major trophies won by England's clubs, and they are way ahead of all others when it comes to home league attendances since the start of the Football League. Their success and popularity over time have been plotted on this graph, and they are comfortably ahead of most English clubs. But can we say that they're the biggest club in England? Where the dominant falls in England. Manchester United have won a record 20 English League titles, 13 FA Cups and 5 League Cups. Their domestic record is therefore second to none. They've won 3 European Cups and won each of the Cup Winners' Cup and UEFA Cups. They've therefore won each of the major European titles. They've also won 2 world titles. We're by far the most popular club in the country. Newton Heath's average attendances at North Road were at the top flight average during their first season in the Football League. When they moved to Bank Street, they slipped below and were just below average and started to slip away from the top flight average until the name change. After becoming Manchester United and developing their ground, attendances dramatically improved, threefold within 2 seasons, while the club was still in the second division. After winning their first title, the club moved into Old Trafford, which saw healthy numbers above the top flight average. Despite form dropping after the war, the club experienced a jump in attendances in 1921. But this trailed off later in the 20s, but still around the top flight average, and even went above it when in the second division. But fans were not so forgiving after their next relegation in the 30s, where average attendances dropped to their lowest point by far in 30 years. But they did not stay there long as the club were promoted. Improved form after the war saw fans coming to watch matches in their droves. They were not able to keep this up moving into the early 50s, but their lowest points during this period were still above the top flight average. Then the Busby Babes generated excitement and success, and their league title win saw United top the average attendances for 3 seasons straight. While the club were in recovery, attendances dropped off again at the start of the 60s, but shot up again when winning at home and in Europe, making United the best supported club at the end of the 60s. Whilst the 70s and 80s were not the most successful decades for Manchester United in terms of league finishes and trophies won, they were in terms of support, as they topped the average attendances for 11 years straight. This without winning a single league title in that period. And this happened again as they started to become successful. Since 1994, Manchester United have been the best supported club in England, and Old Trafford has been developed over the years to keep up with their popularity. This has enabled them to grow their numbers from 1997, then 2001, and then again in 2007. In 2010, their average was over 75,000, and the club maintain these high figures whether or not they are at their best. No other club has such a large stadium, with the next biggest being a little over 60,000, so it doesn't look like a challenge to their popularity will come anytime soon. We're the Comeback Kings. In 1968, Manchester United had the honour of becoming England's first ever European Cup winners. Every Briton was apparently behind United in their thrilling encounter against the mighty Benfica. They hammered the Portuguese side during extra time to become the supreme soccer champions of Europe and lift that handsome outsized trophy. In the 1990s, United had become famous for making comebacks. Italian giants Juventus took the lead at Old Trafford in the European Cup semi-final. A late Giggs equaliser appeared to matter little in the return leg when Pippo Inzaghi put Juventus in a comfortable position. United's never say die attitude was epitomised by Captain Roy Keane, who initiated the comeback, and the famous partnership of York and Cole took United into the final. In the final, they went behind to an early free kick, and the game appeared to be settled until an injury time turnaround that went beyond belief. This was a season in which they had already won the League and FA Cup. This was the first ever treble by an English side, and nobody would ever win a European Cup final more dramatically than this. Well, at least not for the next few years anyway. Manchester United players are the legends of English football. It is not easy to select a best 11 from Manchester United's history, but this side includes two names from their successes in the 60s who will never be forgotten in English football, players in the 90s who took them to domestic dominance, and players who continued winning things during a highly competitive period in English and European football. This includes Wayne Rooney, who finally overtook Bobby Charlton's long-standing goal record. We've cleaned up over our entire history. Newton Heath were already playing in the Football Alliance, and when it merged with the Football League in 1892, they were automatically in the First Division. They found the first 2 seasons difficult and were relegated, then spent the next 12 seasons in the Second Division. In 1902, they changed their name to Manchester United, and 4 seasons later would be promoted back to the First Division. Not long after this, they won 2 league titles and the FA Cup. Their time at the top was short-lived, as finishes started to suffer. The interwar period did not start well for Manchester United, as they were sliding down the table and were soon relegated. Recovery in the mid-20s resulted in battles against relegation when they were back in the top flight, and in the 30s they were in the Second Division again. However, they managed to win Division 2, but would not immediately stabilise a place in the top flight until after the war. In 1945, Matt Busby took over the club, and with it more responsibilities than previous managers. This approach led Manchester United to become one of England's top league sides, finishing second in 4 out of 5 seasons and winning the FA Cup. In the 50s, a young United side won the league on 3 occasions. However, few of these Busby babes survived the Munich air disaster. A difficult season ended in an FA Cup win in 1963, and the Cubs started recovery under Busby, as he rebuilt the squad, winning 2 league titles followed by the European Cup in 1968, the first English side to do so, thus sealing legendary status. However, that was their last trophy for a while, as the next 2 decades were relatively lean. In 1974, United were even relegated, but promptly won the Second Division title and won the FA Cup soon after. At the beginning of the 80s, league form improved, but the FA Cup was their main source of joy. United's future did not look good after Alex Ferguson's appointment in 1986, but United's FA Cup win in 1990 reignited the club. They even won the Cup Winners' Cup at the very season English clubs were allowed back into European competition. United's profile was to really change when they won the English League title in 1993. Within 20 years, they'd won the league title 13 times, overtaking Liverpool's long-held record. This included 2 domestic doubles and the 1999 treble. They managed to remain at the top, weathering the storm of Wenger's Arsenal and Abramovich's Chelsea, winning the League and European Cup double in 2008. During this period, they also won their world titles. Manchester United have not mounted a strong challenge to this title since their noisy neighbours have really settled in, and the re-emergence of Liverpool. But like any big club, they still pick up trophies on their way. Manchester United were living in Liverpool's shadow for decades, but from the 90s, they set their sights on becoming England's most successful club domestically, which they succeeded in doing. They have the honour of being the first English European champions, and have lifted a range of European trophies, but have not had an era of truly dominating in Europe. United have been clearly far ahead of their rivals for decades when it comes to home attendances, and this record does not look like changing anytime soon. Manchester United have had too many classic encounters to be included here, and those we have done reveal the club's winning spirit when they're at their best. Their players will be known to all football fans, and each one from their legendary 11 can be considered world-class from their period. Manchester United's home attendances are streaks ahead of all those other clubs in England. Their domestic trophy haul is also the best in the country, but they are only just ahead of their rivals in terms of league titles. Although they were England's trailblazers in the European Cup, they do not sit at the top table in Europe in this regard and have some way to go. This is the only element we can find lacking when we consider Manchester United against other
big football clubs.
Are Manchester United a bigger business than they are a football club?
Please comment below. Like and subscribe to Big Football Clubs to watch videos as they're released each week.